Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, good whatever time of the day is in your particular part of the world. I'm Melanie and I'm back with another reading. This is going to be a very short reading, a blessing from the fairies. Since I've been back from France, I've really been called to work with the fairies. I've really missed them. So, unusually, this is all oracle cards. There are no tarot in here. That's what I was called to read with, and it's just very, very simple. I've just got this beautiful stone heart that I was gifted by a lovely friend in France, and this little bundle of wheat was what the shopkeeper decided to put on the parcel instead of a ribbon. And bearing in mind that my born is approaching, the 2-year anniversary of my channel is approaching, and the first reading I did was a Mabon reading, and it was about abundance and what blessings we're giving thanks for. I think that's fitting that it's on the table, and it's also a reminder that the next reading I do, I want to be an abundance reading, a blessing, a giving thanks type reading. This is a blessing from the Fae. So we've got 3 piles, and that reminds me I haven't lit the incense, so I shall do so now. Thank you, Spirit, because you just reminded me. Not only did I need to light the incense, but that reminded me to talk about the objects which are on the table. So I've chosen to go with crystals, with stones, but I did consider using rose petals. But for some reason, I went with the crystals. Then I chose the incense. The incense that's on the table is called Love, and it is rose, and it really does smell particularly beautiful. It doesn't smell artificial, because I'm not too fond of rose scented products, but this really does smell beautiful. So it's almost like Spirit was saying, no, you didn't need the rose petals because the rose was going to be on the table anyway. And on the Love incense, we actually, on the box, I'll see if I can show you. There's a woman, sort of a Red Riding Hood looking woman, because she has a red hood on. And she's staring into the eyes, the blue eyes of this beautiful wolf. So I wonder if one of these piles is going to be a love pile. That'd be really interesting, because I definitely considered using roses, rose heads, rose petals. And when I discounted it, it's almost like Spirit said, well, you're going to have the roses on the table anyway, Melanie. That's enough waffle, and that was 333 as I looked at the camera. So it really could be a love reading. That's enough waffle from me. Let me introduce the piles. Pile number 1, you have this lapis lazuli. It's sort of a kite shape. Yeah, I think I want it that way. Sort of a kite shaped piece. I'm going to just click the light on. Don't know if that's better for you or not. Doesn't particularly help me looking into the camera. So pile number 1, the lapis lazuli. Pile number 2 is this beautiful stone made up with all different sort of little bits and bobs of colour in it. It's called the Kesara stone. So pile number 2, the Kesara stone. And pile number 3, you have this very beautiful serpentine heart. So choose your pile, and I shall meet you at your reading. Hello, pile number 1. If you chose the beautiful lapis lazuli stone, then this is your reading. Lapis lazuli, lazuli, I interchange. It's one of the first stones I ever bought myself. Way before I was awakened, I always thought it was a beautiful stone. And I have a beautiful pendant and matching earrings that I bought in Southeast Asia. It is a card connected to intuition, psychic insight. So I just wonder if the Fae will have something to say to you, pile number one, about psychic vision or insight. Okay, let's go. I haven't even thought about how I wanted to set these cards out. Gosh, I really am rusty. Okay, I think you can see everything. I quite like that little layout I've just made up. Okay, let's have a quick look. Okay. There is a little bit about psychic ability here, I think. Actually, there's quite a lot. Okay, where shall I start? I'll start with the present position, I think, that you're in. And you have this beautiful card with this fairy looking up at this beautiful dove in the sky. There's a rainbow and the fairy is holding, the fairy's holding a rose, a pink rose. And I talked about putting roses on the table in the introduction. I also talked about the possibility of a love reading, but I am not seeing a romantic love on the table. It says hope. Hope is always there, even if we can't see it. Optimistic expectations can help change a negative situation into a positive situation. So I think right from the get-go, the Fae, the advice from the Fae, the blessing from the Fae is it's a little bit of advice. It's asking you to have a positive, optimistic outlook on life. That even if there is a perceived negative situation around you, just to have hope, just to continue with faith. Look for the dove, look for the rainbow, look for the pink rose, look for the glass half full rather than the glass half empty. Because there's an awful lot of blessing on the table here and quite a bit of change. Your second card is pure intention, and I read it as pure intuition when I first glanced at it. And you have got a blessing of clear foresight, and you have got transformation. So I will read pure intention, but bear the word intuition in your mind. Have this beautiful fairy out in the woodlands making a wish, blowing on a dandelion, on dandelion seed heads, and putting her wishes out into the universe. She has pink flowers in her hair, and the other fairy was carrying a pink rose. Her wings remind me of dragonfly wings, and you do have transformation on here, and dragonfly is a symbol of transformation. So watch out for dragonflies, or dragonflies might be one of your particular spirit animals or something that you connect with. I mean, they are incredibly magical, aren't they? The Fairy of Manifestation will help you to use your wishes wisely. Manifest your heart's desire with pure intention and for the highest good of all. I'm thinking that links to the Hope card and being optimistic, and to put your manifestations out and to make sure they're wise, that what you're wishing for is wise and that it is positive and it's optimistic and it is for the highest good of all. There's a slight sort of, these are blessings from the Fae, but there's a slight warning from the Fae to keep your vibration high, and the manifestations that you put out there for good, for your own good, for other people's good, but not for revenge or not coming from a lower vibrational energy. From my beautiful Fairy Blessings cards, you have a blessing of clear foresight. And just before I read this, I'm looking down at the table, and you chose the lapis lazuli, and we've got very bluey purpley colours on the table. The only one that's screaming out as not sort of blending in is this enjoy music, so I should focus on that. You have this most fantastic looking fairy, stars and moons all over the place, a beautiful little Fae helper down here with a velvet cushion on which has sat the crystal ball that she's looking into. So it's a blessing of clear foresight. So being able to see into the future, being able to, I think, spot danger or spot problems, spot difficulties before they arise. You have the blessing, not our blessing, the blessing of the mothers. And it's incredibly beautiful. The mother actually appears in some ways younger than the daughter. This could be a blessing from your own mother. This could be a blessing from you to your daughter. Or it simply could be a blessing about nurturing and feeling nurtured by a feminine energy. I will go back and look into the booklet for both of these two cards here. But those are the intuitive messages that I'm getting. With enjoy music, clearly a person from the Andes, and he's playing this beautiful pipe, and it says enjoy music, instruments, sound and tone. I'll ignore the obvious that you're a musician for the moment, and I will concentrate on vibrating at the correct frequency that I talked about optimism and keeping your energy high. And I think the sound and the tone and the pitch and the quality of the sound you surround yourself with, so the chatter, the people in your energies, the vibration, it needs to be high, because you have an awful lot of up in the air kind of energy here. And I think the red is standing out because it's asking you to ground yourself in with music. It's got instruments, so you could play. It's got sound, you could simply enjoy music and feel connected to reality through music. The tone. Also, I talked about surrounding yourself with the right people. But another slight warning here, this is the third one. Watch your tone. Watch the tone with which you are speaking and communicating with people. There might be a slight problem, and I'm looking at the blessing of the mothers, to do with tone, and the words that you say might very well come from a place of pure intention. But just watch your tone. Make it harmonious. Make sure that your tone resonates. I I talked about this saying pure intuition, you had clear foresight, you have transformation. And I think this is an incredibly spiritual card. I've always seen it as that. It's almost like the blessing from the Fae is that you've graduated a particular situation, a particular level in your life, and that you're ready to cross this bridge now and to move into another higher level. And that's the blue level. And this is interesting that the reddy, pinky, orangey colours are next to the red card. I think it's really important that you keep yourself grounded and connected. Make sure that your chakras are all open and clear, and that you're not focusing just up on the third eye, the crown chakra, the throat chakra. You're not just focusing on these higher up chakras as you go through this time of transformation. You've got a graduation robe on, deep midnight blue velvet colour, golden scroll in your hand. Your hand's almost between your heart and your throat here. Some important test that you've passed. Might literally be you've graduated, you've passed some exams, you've gained a promotion, but it feels very spiritual. And I think because you've had hope and you've tried to keep your vibration high, it's almost like this is a reward. And fives are change, and it's the cycle suit. It's closing out a cycle. That's what's going on here. It's closing out a cycle, and your final card is wings. And of course, nearly all of these cards have wings. In fact, every card has wings apart from our gentleman in the Andes, but that's pretty much as high as you can go on an earthly plane, to be up in the Andes. All of the fairies have wings, and she has wings here behind her robe. So this is definitely about moving up a level, aiming higher, flying higher. These wings well, they're very bird wings. They're certainly not angelic wings or butterfly wings or fairy wings. But you know what they really remind me of? They remind me of the headdress worn by a Native American Indian. They remind me of that. It's almost like you've earned your feathers, earned your stripes. And that's got stronger and stronger as I've gone on. You're moving up a level. And just before I go, I do really want to look at particularly the blessing of clear foresight. Card number 40. And I'll have a quick look at the blessing of the mothers, because that appears to be happening under a very large full moon. Yeah, a blessing of clear foresight is the fairy gift of knowing what's likely to come from the dimensions we humans call the future. Yeah. Interesting. With this blessing of clear foresight, may you be blessed with the ability to see the lasting influence of what it is you choose to do. What will you be granting to the future of this world, to the children, to the ones who come after? That might very well be if you're not a mother. This is so synchronistic, it links with hope as well. May you understand, therefore, what would be best for you to do, not only for your own self, though it's good and right for you to think of yourself, but what is best for those that you love and for those who come after us as well. Time unfurls before you, a green scroll unwritten upon, but one upon which you can see what would come. Interesting, a green scroll. Talked of manifesting wisely and to manifest your heart's desire with pure intention and for the good of all. A blessing and a sage piece of advice for you, pile number 1 from the fairies. You have the blessing of clear foresight. You are transforming. You are going up a level. But to use your gift and your skills wisely for the betterment of humanity, for the good of all. Remembering those who come after us. Connect to spirit with music, either by making music, by creating, or by listening to music. Watch the vibrations that you take in and the vibrations and the tone that you give out, and use your wings to soar. Absolutely beautiful, pile number 1. Brightest blessings to you. Hello, pile number 2. If you chose this Kesara stone, then this is your reading. Okay, before I even begin, if you were not sure between pile 1 and pile 2, there might be something in pile 1 for you, because you have the words visualise and vision come up twice here. And they had a blessing of clear foresight. Okay, the stone that you chose, the Kesara stone, Kesara is what will be, whatever will be, Kesara, Sara. So I think there's something of a fatalism about you at the moment. You feel exactly that. You're quite happy to go with the flow and allow whatever comes to come. But you may waver in your confidence given this card. Okay, let's make a start. First card, look at this magical fairy with her equally magic hair. And he's beautifully saddled up in green. Looks like he has a green wing on his back, which matches her wings. He looks a little bit frightened about being saddled up and about this journey. The message says, it's time to prepare for a journey. It may be impromptu or planned. Either way, make sure you're ready when the time comes and pack your passport now. So we're talking about travel, but travel can be so many things. It can be a literal journey. It can also be a metaphysical journey. I'm looking at these toadstools, these mushrooms in the woods. So physical journey, metaphysical journey, possibly both, because through travel we open our mind and we broaden our horizons. Yeah. Okay, it might really be an inner journey because you have inner child here, and it's so beautiful. We seem to have a mother fairy, a little girl fairy, and a baby fairy, and I think these are all you. And it says the fairies of playfulness remind you to make time to embrace your inner child. Playing keeps us young at heart. Do something silly and fun, but stay safe. And it might be a day trip, you know, a journey. Okay, a journey suggests it's more than a trip. Okay, but maybe it's a journey back to self. And maybe this fairy blessing is to allow fun and play into your life and creativity, because you do have creativity with 2 cards here. 3 cards really with fairy magic. And I just, as I said 3 cards, I noticed that this was card 33. And I mentioned 333 in the introduction. So if you listen to that and you've resonated with that, that might be your pile. And magic is all about creativity. And they seem to be making this beautiful offering. In fact, the more I look at it, I don't think they are making the offering. I think that these beautiful, what appear to be rose petals, and again I mentioned rose petals and rose in the introduction, appear to be coming down into their bowl. There's something about companionship, because the fairy has this enormous hair with her. The inner child has another 2 people with them. And a fairy blessing, a blessing of fairy magic, there are 2 people coming together to create magic. This might be the pile. About love. And the reason I'm hesitant is because there's nothing particular on here that says that, but I feel that we've got this green heart chakra here, we've got this pink here, the pink and the green there. Somehow by opening up to exploration, I think you open yourself up to, well, definitely creativity and magic. And I just feel love. I don't know why. There's another pile yet. There was nothing in the first pile that gave me a sense of romantic love. There is something here, but you may be in 2 minds about it. You may be seesawing. Let me move on with the fairies. A blessing of honesty. I think the Fae want you to be a lot more honest with yourself and those around you. If you want to receive honesty in return, can you see that she's very stripped back, she's virtually naked. She's openly and honestly looking you in the eye. She also has a lot of blue, like a heart chakra, like a throat chakra, speaking her truth. And then you have the blessing of fairy magic that I talked about. This is very ritualistic. It is very much to do with making an offer, of giving, of receiving. I think this really might be about magical practices. I'll come back to those 2 fairy cards and look in the book for them, because they always contain really important messages. I'm getting another message as I'm looking at this. Can you see she has these sort of shell things coming out here? The sun's absolutely dazzling me, I'm roasting now. She has these 2 sort of shell things and these antler antennae. It's something to do with listening intently and being able to sift through the honesty of somebody's words. I love the ancestor card with this cave art. And again, we've got sort of antlers on this bison, reindeer, cow type animal. Explore your creative side, visualize, paint, record. Indulge that inner child. the very beginnings of art. You don't have to be a professional writer or artist or musician. What's important is to express yourself, okay? Express yourself honestly, and to have fun and to play and work with new mediums. You've got a 5 of intention here. Fives are about change. This guy has his feet planted really firmly on this sort of seesaw. And he's way up in the clouds above this rather dark town and city, but he's not quite made his mind up about something. Cloaks always signify journeys or travelling to me, and you do have the journey card. So you may be indecisive about making a journey, about making a change, about travelling, because 5s are always change. And it's a 5 of intention. You might be struggling to make your mind up about going somewhere, about making a trip. These cards here, the deck these come from, have the witches' tools, and then they have the literary witches themselves. I thought I'd separated the deck into the witches' tools, away from the witches. You've got one of the witches, you've got Virginia Woolf, who's afraid of the big bad wolf. But can you see, you've got the word vision on here, and you've got visualise on here. I don't think it's an accident. And in her hand, she has an ink pot. And from the ink pot, all of these flowers she's creating, she's blooming, she's giving birth to all of these flowers. Plus she seems to have a little familiar little spirit animal there tucked under her arm, keeping her safe. Just like this, a travelling companion. And we have 2 companions here in devotion. I'm going to look. So we've got 5, okay, we've got 5 and 5, and they're both here. Yep, change, back and forth. Something you're not sure about committing to, whether it's the journey or it's their creativity. Let's see if this can make it clearer. Okay, the fairy gift of truthfulness and the inability for others to be false when with you. That's a great blessing. So if you're not too sure and your decision involves others, that's a great blessing. You've got your antenna up. You will spot when others are not being straight or honest or direct with you. That's a really great blessing. It's the gift to see clearly what's true and what's not, to hear the words that are truthful. There's no need for you to be anything other than who you are. For who you are is so earthy and real that others begin to feel how safe it is to be themselves too. There's a simplicity and a connectedness, and you will shine out amongst all those who've cloaked themselves in artifice. There will be no self-deception, no lack of clarity. You are who you are, and that human friend is a blessing to the whole planet. People will be open and honest with you, and all will be clear and true. That's beautiful. Maybe you can see clearly now. Vision. Maybe you can see clearly. No more back and forth. And then 33, the magic number. Okay. Okay, it's just about, yeah, having that little bit of extra magic spark to your life. A little extra life force flowing through your fingers, a little extra depth in the way you see the world, a little extra tastiness to the food you eat, and a little extra kindness coming to you every day. Let whatever magic you decide to create have the blessing of the Fae, so your words and actions, your wishes and your dreams begin to merge into one another until the inner world is mirrored in the outer world and you feel you are creating what you desire in life. You are creating. You're creating the journey. You're writing the destination. That's the blessing. That's the blessing from the Fae. You're master of your own destiny. No more back and forth. No more indecision about what you want. You are painting the picture. You're writing the script. You're playing and you're having fun. Working your magic. Making the flowers. And being honest and authentic whilst you do it. Absolutely superb. Pile number 2. Those are your blessings from the Fae. Hello, pile number 3. If you chose this green serpentine heart, and I've just realised if I put it on the table, we've got 2 hearts, then this is your reading. Okay, right, this is the obvious, quick, really easy one. Okay, and the colours match. This is just so beautiful. This is just so beautiful. Okay, pile number 3. I think you have done an awful lot of inner work and you have come to terms with solitude and found peace, found comfort in yourself. I think you have done a lot of inner healing and you are now ready to be blessed by the Fae with an upgrade in your own spiritual gifts and by a soulmate, a soul partner, a soul friend. Yeah, you're coming into your magic. This is gorgeous. This is gorgeous. Okay. Solitude. Look at her. I wouldn't mind being alone there in all of that beautiful mossy green. Think of being alone as meaning that you are all one and in total harmony with everything. The greatest treasures are those that wait silently during your quiet times. I feel you've discovered this, pile number 3. And because you are perfectly happy and accepting and comfortable with who you are and receiving those quiet messages and knowing that you are all one and all in tune with everything, that the Fae are going to reward you with lots of blessings, probably the key one being the Anamkara. We're staying in the woods. You've done your healing. And I think all healers are particularly good if they've worked upon themselves and done some self-healing. It says now's the time for you to give or receive healing. Everyone has a natural ability to heal others. Yeah, I think you've healed yourself. You've received some healing. You've worked on yourself. And as a consequence of that, you have a very healing aura that you radiate. And I think you are going to attract others who are healed and healthy and whole. And I think you're going to attract this Anamkara, this soulmate, this spirit friend, somebody who sees you, who gets you, who feels like you are their mirror image, you are their twin soul. You don't have to look identical. These two fairies don't. But the wings that surround them don't seem to come from them, but they're the same size, they're equal, and they encircle both of them. And you've got a blessing of the sight. Of course you've got a blessing of the sight. When you've done that kind of inner work and got comfortable with being alone and realising that no one's ever really alone because we're all connected to everyone, everything, every tree, every plant, every flower, we're all connected. You've got a blessing of the sight. And here she is, using all of this beautiful purple energy under this beautiful lilac moon, and the Owl of Wisdom just sitting there. I'm going to read this card. I think you've gone into the forest. There's a saying, I go into the forest to lose my mind and find my soul. I think you've done this. I think you've done the clear your mind. I think you've learned to be present. You've learned to focus, and you've learned to embrace. I'm looking at this beautiful parrot that's flying over the two people who appear to be resting and relaxing on the beach. And this lady's looking thoughtfully at them. And the child's looking at you. You know, make sure you take time out to be present, to focus on the here and now. Basket weaving, collecting pebbles, just enjoying nature, just being present. You are coming into the honouring path. Can you see this woman is standing and receiving some kind of acclaim for what she's done. She's head and shoulders above the rest. And she's very open, there's no false modesty. She is accepting the bouquet, she's accepting the rewards and the applause. She's comfortable with being honoured. Honoured for her journey, honoured for her progress. And finally you have this most magical gift, the toad. The toad speaks of joy and of happiness. And there's no fairy story without a toad in it. Usually somebody's has been transformed into a toad, or somebody's kind to the toad and brings them back to their human state. I think you are going to be seen, truly seen, for who and for what you are. And I'm talking about being seen, and I'm looking at the sight. Okay? And you're maybe going to hop out from under your stone, from hiding in the cool green woods, and be seen for the magical little toad you are. And I said I would read a blessing of the sight. I don't know if that's 18 or 13. Let's have a look. It's 18. Okay, the fairy gift of the ability to see with the eyes of the spirit. What have I been talking about? You've done the work. Let the fairies offer you the blessing of the eyes within eyes. The eyes that can pierce the veil and see into other worlds that lie all about us and make visible the ones unseen. The ones unseen, hiding under a rock, is now seen. Fairies have traditionally offered this gift to those who are to those who are to be blessed, so that they can see auras, visibly detect energy, and see the energies and the beings within another person. This sight is not like human sight though, it's fleeting and it's strange. And like water, if you struggle to hold it, it will slip through your fingers and find its way away from you. So it's a gift of fleeting moments of insight to the fairy realms, to see that which is within a person, to know yourself and who you are, and to have a moment when the limited vision of humanity opens up, and know that there is so much more to the world than you've been taught to see. With the blessing of sight, you begin to see more clearly with those beautiful human eyes and appreciate each leaf turn, each flower bud, each colour within the rainbow. This is now your blessing, to see the world as it is, as magical, and to see within the worlds that overlap these ones as well. Yeah. New magical gifts. A soul friend. An upgrade. Both seeing and being seen. Brightest, brightest of blessings to you. Pile number 3.